Hello, I'm Nacho Yagüe. I'm a guy from Spain. I now live in Canada for 5 years. I've been working in the video game industry for almost 14 years as a concept artist, and now I'm moving into art direction.
Hi, I'm Tim Warnock, and I'm a concept artist. I co-founded Northfront Studio in 2014 with Ryan Denny, and we do work for film, television, and video games. For us, design is a big deal. We really want to have people that can really think and design things, and we obviously want to have people that can also render and produce beautiful images, but we're always looking primarily at what can this person really think and design new things, and as opposed to just being an illustrator.
Well, you need to, if you want to include your portfolio to a studio, you really need to know the projects. You need to kind of curate your portfolio depending on who you are, who you want to apply. So, but mostly be very consistent in what you want to show. Don't show everything. I mean, no one is gonna look through all your portfolio. If you show 10 images, find the best images that you have, or the ones that portray who you are, or what can you offer to the studio. Always show like a lot of variety and a lot of production work as well, because I find that sometimes people get lost and they just like show very beautiful polished images, and it's very good to show like sketches or process of or how did you reach to that idea. I think always show that you are capable to think, and you are capable to show design, and you are capable to solve problems. Usually I change my process. I really need to, I sometimes spend like a month trying to figure out what are the requirements of the project, what's the tone of the project as well, and depending of if it's a very realistic or it's like a more cartoony, or what do they want from me, I try to find a different approach in different projects. Also because personally I find myself, I really want to learn every time that I'm doing my job. So I always try to approach a project in a different way that will allow me to learn new techniques or new ways of painting as well. So every project is different. So yeah, I always change my technique.
Usually we'll do some thumbnails and sketches, do a bunch of research to try to get our heads around where we're headed with something. And then once we kind of feel good about where we're going with the sketches, then we'll usually launch into some kind of a 3D build to use as a reference or to paint on top of. It depends on what it is. Like sometimes a rough sketch is enough to communicate what the client needs, and other times it needs to be taken to a fairly high rendered finished piece. And so we utilize 3D fair amount to do that. We typically work in Modo. We also use ZBrush. But then from there, we'll work in Photoshop to do the finished painting. Spent too much time on it. I don't know. I mean, I worked as a matte painter for 10 years, so I tend to be comfortable in that kind of photorealistic realm. So I guess I'm using a lot of those tricks. Like, I think, yeah, obviously we spent a lot of time looking at reference material, really studying photographs and film frames, and analyzing them to get that atmosphere, and subtle things like lens, junk and stuff like that. Just that gives it that very real feel. But then other than that, it's really, focusing on paying attention to looking at the masters and studying lighting and basic, that kind of fundamental stuff. Is you just spend a lot of time learning that and working it out.
It's very hard. Lately, I've always feel that we're living this constant evolution of concept art, and now everything is faster and better. But lately, I'm trying to do this approach of thinking simple. I think the simple works way better. we tend to overload our images with a lot of like characters, a lot of things in the screen. Lately, I'm trying to find like a protagonist, stick to that, and think about like a very strong, simple composition, very strong colors, or very strong brushstrokes. And usually, it always gives this kind of different flavor. Try to not to follow the same sources of inspiration as well. So I think it's very important to go through classics, check old movies, everything that can inspire you, but not go to the same source of inspiration, because you are gonna end doing what everyone is doing at the same time.
When you're getting started, it's neglecting things like values, and you're still trying to figure out color, and so it can be a bit all over the shop that way. But yeah, I mean, again, that stuff comes back to just really studying, paying attention, not trying to get ahead of yourself. I think with digital tools especially, it's easy to get into this experimental mode where you're just rifling through layer modes and trying to get stuff for free, and forgetting about like the fundamentals of what you would be thinking of if all you had was a pencil and a sketchbook, and really focusing on building your image up and having strong values and paying attention to making choices about color, as opposed to just throwing things in the soup and hoping that you end up with something awesome, which sometimes is great, like for exploration, trying to break out of the things you kind of naturally reach for. The digital tools are awesome for really quick iterations, exploring stuff. But yeah, it's easy to kind of lose sight of just the basics, and because you have every option available to you with digital tools.
I see tons of mistakes. The first one, I think, is like they don't have like a clear idea of what do they want to show. They always show like very cool images sometimes, but when I ask them what they want to portray there, they always are lost. They don't know exactly what they're doing. They're like focusing too much on the final result, instead of like thinking like why are they doing that, or why are they putting that. I see a lot of mistakes when they use photo batch, for example, with the scale, or they get lost. Sometimes they don't use the right material, or they don't put like a thought of what are they doing. So I always tell them that they should, whatever you put on the screen, you need to think about it. Why are you adding this castle? What is the material? Why did you pick that material and not another one? Who lives there? If you start thinking about those things, everything is going to be more cohesive, and it will tell a story, and it will be more like it will have more credibility as well. So that's the biggest mistake. And second one, also, that their portfolio is too big. Sometimes I stick to 10 images, 8 images, no more. It's enough to show who you are and what you are capable to do.
Yeah, we've been working. We're working on season 3 of Expanse right now, and they've been a really great client for us. We get to do everything. We just design spaceships, we do environments, we do props, we do weapons, and for season 2 we worked on the power suit, and for the Martians. So that we get a lot of creative input into that show. We have a close relationship with the client, and so it's something that we're really proud of and feel we have a lot of influence on the lookup. We also work with the people at Riot, and they're an amazing client. We get to do some really awesome, like super inspiring stuff with them, and their bar is really high, so we get pushed to go further on things than we probably would on any other client. So that's really awesome.
On my personal side, I think it was Assassin's Creed. It was like the pinnacle of my career. I've always been a huge fan of the saga. So for me, being able to really work on one of my favorite games was like one of the best things I did. Almost because it's very creative. It's like it very matches with my culture, like a European culture. I really love traditional art. So I found a great blend between concept art and traditional media. And yeah, it was a very fun project to work. Well, words of wisdom, yeah, probably one is like don't rush. It sounds very, very cheesy, but I feel that everyone is like trying to get into the industry too fast, or in the biggest studio too early. it's okay. You can start like in small studios, get a lot of experience, because it's not just about painting. It's about like working in big companies or working with big teams. So you need to learn also how to develop those skills, like communicating well, accept critiques as well. So take your time and try to learn, and don't rush, because at the end it won't be good for you if you rush.